Hi everyone, and look, thanks for the opportunity to join in and give a bit of an overview of where we are really from a council perspective. Um, and obviously, I'll be open to questions. I haven't got a huge amount of information to give you other than a bit of an overview of where we're sitting. Obviously, we all know we've been in lockdown for over a month now. And I've been working quite hard behind the scenes around, well, firstly, a return to play for the winter codes, which actually went by the wayside, unfortunately for them, and all of the active recreation people in Auckland. So we're really turning our focus now to summer. We haven't been under the level 4 restrictions. We haven't been able to mow, line mark, or do any maintenance on our 250 plus sports parks across the region, or across Auckland, and over 1,300 sports platforms. So we're playing catch up, to be honest. The contractors, as of last week, we got an exemption through to do mowing of the sports platforms just to try and keep them in check. So when we do go down to level 3, we're not too far behind the 8 ball. We were kind of lucky. Obviously, we're entering spring growth. Things haven't got too far away on most of the assets, but in saying that, it won't take long. As soon as those soil temperatures warm up, we're going to be away. So thankfully, we're allowed to mow it now, as of probably 5 days ago. So the teams and the different contractors have been out busily getting through the assets. Will be quite some time until we can get them under control and back to where we were before lockdown. Part of the exemption, we haven't been able to do any cricket wicket preparation and things like that, which we've just got the exemption through as of today, for them to start doing that, and possibly we'll leave the line marking for another few weeks, because we've probably got the renovation program to really concentrate on. We do hope that we'll be back and up for play in time for the start of the summer season, which is generally that Labour weekend, or the 25th of October start date. So that's what we're aiming for. But it's going to be one of those things. I mean, another lockdown is obviously going to change that, and yeah, it's just really about how we can work together, working with the clubs and the associations to get people back to some kind of return to play and some normality out there. Yeah, look, I've got quite a bit written down on paper here, but I'm quite happy to be just open up to questions. We have a renovation window which we're still trying to utilise between now and that 25th. And that's to get through and do essential work on the platforms, to try and get them fit for purpose, really, for the summer users. Yeah, and it's going to be really just how we work together. I got fired through a few questions that might be asked here today, and a lot of the level changes aren't any different our end to what we experienced with the new Delta virus, and the clubs and the associations will need to do a fairly robust protocols around their return to play and how they're going to manage that. Yeah, I think one of the questions was around, will we have QR codes for each of the sports fields? That's not going to probably be a possible outcome, and we'll be relying on the clubs and the associations to have processes in place with their users around how they sign in and keep their members safe. We will, however, be putting the signs up in our toilet blocks and things like that, so people can scan into those. Look, other than that, I'll just open it up to some of the questions. I think if there's anyone out there that's got anything they want to ask of me, I'm happy to try and answer it as best as possible.
So if anyone does have a question for Scott, turn your mic and your camera on and fire away. Looks like you're getting off lightly, Scott.
Okay. Do you want me to go over some of the ones that you?
Yeah. If you could, that would be great. Thank you.
Look, I think as far as controlling unauthorized, I think one of the questions that came out is how would we police users that aren't following the protocols? And once again, that comes down to really a law or a police issue, really, around if people aren't following the guidelines. The government guidelines are there; they're very clear, and we'll be expecting people to do their best and to do the right thing. Really, it is about us as a community, all being on the same page. I think it's going to be very hard for any council organisation to police that kind of stuff. We really need it, the community buy-in for this to work. And I think there was something about what would be ramifications if people don't follow the guidelines and the government guidelines. Well, I guess at the end of the day, the answer to that is another lockdown. If worst case scenario, and we'll all be back to square one, where no one's going to get any sport underway, and we're all going to lose out. So it's certainly within everyone's best interests to do the right thing here. And I'm sure most people will.
Scott, there's just been a question that's come through, which I know that you and I discussed briefly before, but how do we deal with anti-vaxxers vandalising and removing our QR codes at council grounds?
Yeah, and a question, and once again, it's a team effort. How do we deal with that? If they're QR codes that are put up by council, which would be in our toilet blocks, then we'd call the call centre and log a job. Would be the best way through that, and that's probably liaising with your clubs. They have the contacts of my team and also our 09301 0101 call centre number, and we'd log those jobs and we could get new signs out. Hopefully we won't get a lot of that, but yes, who knows.
Does anyone have any other questions for Scott? Okay, well, if you do think of any and you want to fire them through to any of the Sport Auckland staff who you will have received the invite from, please do so, and we will either connect in with Scott or the appropriate person at council to get that answer for you. So just a reminder again, we're here to help. We're all part of a small part of the team of 5 million. So whatever we can do to help you assist get play back on track, we're here to do that. Thank you very much, Scott. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, look, I'll just reiterate that if there are any questions, fire them through. It doesn't have to be today. If you guys are thinking of something that you want answered, then get them to me at some stage, and myself and my team will work to get you an answer.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, now we have actually worked out how to, here we go. We've got one question that came in from Anthony. Might not be a question for Scott, but do we see the latest lockdown further impacting funding from council or for sports and facilities?
Oh, that's possibly not something that I can answer. I'm more the maintenance side of council. But at this, look, I wouldn't know how to answer that. I certainly haven't heard any rumours of issues around that, but I'm not an expert on the funding side of things from a club perspective.
Specifically from council, I'm not aware of anything currently. We have been in contact through the sector forums that Active have been running with New Zealand Community Trust. And they have advised us that money is pouring back into gambling, and money has been coming into the Auckland region. So if you are concerned about funding, then you may look to engage with New Zealand Community Trust and see what options they have available for you. And there is one question here around Michael's Ave and Ellerslie. We've already, oh, sorry, it's more a comment than a question. So we are already seeing QR codes being vandalised, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that'll be an ongoing thing. Unfortunately, yeah, that's a real shame if people are out there doing that. So, look, I think we just have to hope that it stops, but we'll continue to put them up where we can. If it becomes an ongoing issue at one or two specific sites, then we can look a bit further into that.
Absolutely. Another question for you, Scott, just come up from Stephanie. I understand you guys are very busy with all the sports grounds in a short amount of time. Is there a specific order you guys are going through in order to get the parks up to par for play, i.e. the ones who need it most, or is it just on the jobs that get logged in?
As far as the getting the fields changed over from summer to winter or work on the fields, is that what you're asking?
Stephanie, do you want to turn your mic on and just clarify for Scott?
Yeah, hey, sorry, my internet's not the greatest, so hopefully you guys could hear me. Yeah, just in regards to, because obviously, I've seen some of the previous emails where, people are going to log in jobs based on the necessities required for everybody's grounds. And like I said, I understand you guys have a lot of grounds to cover in a short amount of time for Labor Weekend. And I'm also conscious that I'm sure a lot of sports are, even when we do get into level 2, there are going to be probably different start dates for different sports and sports codes. So that's why I was just wondering, is there a specific order that you guys are going through, or is it just as you get the jobs as they get logged in, that's how you guys are going for them to get them done?
Yeah, no, look, thanks for that. The jobs is around field setups and renovations on fields don't come through as a log job. We have each of our contractors will have a plan, and really we base it on the geography of Auckland. It's a massive area, and we don't want to be jumping from one end of it to the other to try and set up fields. So from a practicality point of view, we have to just try and work through geographically to get the field set up. If there are different start dates, which I hope there's not too many, and we might need to have some conversations around that for the codes, then we'd look at that. Obviously, with cricket, for example, pre-season rolling of cricket blocks and things like that need to start pretty soon to try and get the grass blocks ready and compaction levels right. So they'll target those. I guess I have confidence in our contractors. They've been doing this for a number of years now, and we do have a window to get the work done. So yeah, all going well with no other lockdowns. I think we're probably not in too bad a shape, but the field setups wouldn't come through the call centre as far as a request. It's we generally work with the associations on their start dates and try and get things set up that way.
Nice, thanks, Scott. And clearly someone really eager to get back to play like we all are. A question from Francis. Fields may be ready for competition play by Labour weekend. However, what are the chances of fields being ready for practice or warm-up games in weekends prior to that?
Yeah, well, therein lies, that's a lot in that question. Obviously, we've had two fairly significant droughts over the last couple of seasons in the summer, and COVID has impacted our ability to renovate the fields in the last lockdown. So although the fields are in all right shape, there's quite a bit of work that we need to do with growing, obviously, new grass from seed, and the spring window is the time to do that. So training on assets leading up to the competition dates is going to be on a case-by-case basis, and we'll try and accommodate where we can, but it's going to be a very hard one for us to accommodate everything. Certainly on the major assets, there might be a few satellite fields around the place that we could open up, but yeah, my advice would be, to do a fair bit of road running and get your fitness levels up. Obviously for cricket and things like that, train in the nets. The fields, the longer we can get that window, it's essential to getting suitable platforms for you guys for summer and then again next winter. So it is going to be a challenge. And like I said, there'll be some satellite fields that we can do, but we'll really need the buy-in from the users and the clubs around some of this training. We'll be trying to do work on these platforms now to get them ready, and if people are just out there training all over them, then they're going to go backwards, to be honest, and it'll be very hard for us to supply you with fields that are fit for purpose.